My name is Anthony for HaslageNet. GameStop was not the first in north central Ohio to accept video game trade-ins, and that threatened their growth. Here is the story of GameStop in northern Lorain County. I live in north central Ohio, in northern Lorain County. Prior to any Walmarts or large purveyors of video game merchandise, we had Hills and K-Mart department stores in the city of Lorain. Needless to say, their video game offerings were never very good. They would typically have the newest games in stock, and once they were gone for good. At like the Midway Mall in Elyria, they had a Sears and a J.C. Penney's, both of which also sold video games. They handled the product like the stores in Lorain, but you could pre-order from catalogs. That is how I ordered my Nintendo 64 and received it 4 days early. At the Midway Mall in the early 1980s, Babbage's Computers opened. Their initial offerings included a few home computer models and a few video game consoles, the most popular of which was the Atari. I remember going to the store with my mother and grandmother begging for an Atari and being amazed by the working computer that they had on display. Along the walls of the store were accessories and software. This is the place that I learned about the Nintendo Entertainment System. In the late 1980s, inside of the Midway Mall opened a KB Toys. In the front of the store, they would always have some items that would have a deep price cut. But in the aisles, everything seemed just a little bit more expensive than you may find somewhere else. The catch was they often had item exclusivity, which really worked in their favor. It was specifically useful because Toys R Us had just opened outside of the mall. Toys R Us, or TRU, was the first chain store in the area to have a dedicated video game department. That is not to say that Babbage's did not, but it was a specifically electronic boutique. Initially, TRU's prices were on par with other stores, but as time went on, price creep occurred. Taking a hit from KB, TRU started getting their own item exclusivity deals. In Lorain around the late 1980s, two small businesses opened to cater to various gaming tastes. Reality Recess offered a combination board, tabletop, and video game establishment, while Flashback Video was mainly about movies, video games, and imported foreign video games, consoles, and accessories. Flashback Video closed in the 2000s, but Reality Recess lives on as Recess Games in North Olmsted. In the mid-1990s, Midway Mall expanded again, and a store opened named the Video Game Exchange, or VGE for short. Unbeknownst to any of us in the area, the Center for VGE would be the basis for video game stores for years to come. Upon entering VGE, you would find games mounted along the entire length of a wall. The opposite wall contained the customer service counter, also known as the cash wrap. What made this store so special, other than trading in pre-owned games, was that you were able to try out the pre-owned games on an in-store console before buying them. Of course, the store also carried the newest releases, which then made every other store in the area useless to gamers. In the late 1990s, Funkoland opened up across the parking lot from VGE, and the Babbage's in the Midway Mall was bought by Electronic Boutique, turning it into EB Games. VGE had such a loyal customer base that Funkoland was failing. Thus, once GameStop was in the midst of acquiring both EB Games and Funkoland in the early 2000s, GameStop made the owner of VGE an offer that he could not refuse. No, they did not bust his kneecaps. They offered to pay off his debt and give him a cash buyout. They also made his assistant manager the manager of the new GameStop, which was formerly the Funkoland that was across the parking lot from VGE. For nearly 10 years, the former VGE assistant manager was the manager of that GameStop. I even sold him all of my cartridge-based consoles, games, and accessories prior to him leaving the company. If I had only known about the retro gaming boom that would soon occur. Anyway, it was about this time that the GameStop, formerly EB Games, and Babbage's in the Midway Mall closed. GameStop then opened new locations in Avon, another in Elyria, and one in Lorain, nearby where both Flashback Video and Reality Recess used to be located. In the early 2000s, Best Buy installed a big box location into the front of the Midway Mall, next door to Sears. Unlike the other anchors, it originally did not allow mall visitors to enter the store from inside, but this changed in the early 2010s. Best Buy attempted to mimic GameStop's trade-in approach and for a short time even had a video game magazine named At Gamer. Unlike GameStop's Game Informer, At Gamer was more blatant about advertising and had half as much content. However, Best Buy's Games Club rewards program was subjectively better than GameStop's. Best Buy eventually discontinued the magazine and rewards program. Some of you may be asking, where does the exchange fit into all of this? Well, originally named the Record Exchange, the nearby Midway Mall location appeared in the early 2000s to do for music what the Video Game Exchange had done for video games. Prior to the name change, the Record Exchange expanded into pre-owned video games once GameStop became the only other serious local competition. The exchange, originally established in the early 1980s, now has over 24 locations throughout
the Midwest
and has shifted to a broader fandom focus that includes collectibles, movies, music, toys, and video games.
Hills closed in 1997 after Ames bought it and quickly folded. K-Mart closed in 2016 and Sears closed in 2017. As you may already know, KB Toys closed in 2009 and Toys R Us in 2018 due to bad investments made by Bain Capital. Rumor has it that there may be a few Sears and Kmart still remaining in the wild. I am sure that they are roaming free with what remains of Blockbuster Video in Circuit City. It has been rumored that GameStop is seeking new ownership and that its experimental diversification tactics are simply not working. Although, I would have liked to check out one of those combination GameStop Think Geek boutiques. After already experiencing over a $500 million loss for financial 2018 and falling stock prices as a result, maybe it is time to return to the days where stores like the Video Game Exchange can flourish once again. As of right now, only one such store exists, and that is Level 2 Games in Avon. However, they only deal in last generation and older products. No one really knows what will happen to gaming in the future, but going all digital looks to be entirely possible. With that said, thanks for watching. Thank you for checking out our content. Before you leave, please remember to click like and then subscribe. If you want to receive notifications, do not forget to enable them by clicking on the bell. Then afterwards, check out our social media at HaslageNet and our website at HaslageNet.